We finally got it to fucking work. My God. My God. What
We do
is
apologise
the
for
crack?
keeping you waiting, guys.
What is the crack? My God.
Now I can see the chat.
Right, we finally got the grots into working order. Dread was having problems with his freeboot of grots. They were too drunk on Roma or something. Whatever. We beat them into position. We're all here. It's all rocking and rolling. Let's get the show
he's got
started.
the tinfoil hat ready. Do you know what?
Yeah, where's the... Oh, look at him. He's prepared. Good man. I don't have one myself. I won't be the one.
Are you fucking shitting me?
I've got mine ready.
Are you actually shitting me? I swear to God, this was not planned.
I don't have one. I don't have one.
I had no idea those two were doing this.
I was like, the closest thing I've got is like a lampshade or something. That's about it. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you have any idea? All day I've been looking forward to bringing this out halfway through the stream.
I actually knew that this was going to happen. I knew. I'm such a good. Like, I don't need a tinfoil hat. I've got the powers, mate. I've got the powers.
All right, Skarnir, since you haven't got one, you got to judge who's got the best tinfoil hat.
Come on, give us a
Dim
look there.
gets 0 points for effort there.
Well, at least look. I'm the one who lost points for effort. I think Steve-O's got. He's got a winner there. He's got a. Yeah, I think Steve-O's got the winner there. But mind you, you know,
Fucking bad moon with this fancy tinfoil hat.
Exactly, he has to have the best tinfoil hat and everything.
I've got the full nipple head going on here.
Exactly. You can focus all that Waaagh energy. Boop.
It's getting hot in here. I feel like a baked potato.
You look it too, mate. So you know. Right, what's the
I swear to
crack?
God, guys. I swear to God, this is not. We did not.
Oh, it was not planned. I had to go and get the roll. I mean, I didn't know. Because I saw this, I was like, well, I've got the roll just here.
Oh, we're starting off well. What is the crack, YouTubers?
I'm video the idiot. I'll wait till halfway through the stream.
Shut up for a second, will you? For Christ's sakes. Try to intro us. Welcome to the stream. We're having a hobby hangout for the Saga of the Beast, the Ragnar Rising or whatever it's called. I'm your host, Skarnir. If you've never been here before, we have guests, 6+Stevo on with the tinfoil hat. You can wave and say hello.
Guys, I'm going to take this off. I'm getting very hot in that.
We have
yes. Skarnir said to me yesterday. He said, "Do you fancy I'm going to have all of us on the stream?" I said, "What could possibly go wrong?"
everything.
Well,
Everything.
turns out.
Waaagh Gaming is here. Let me introduce all of you for first of all. Waaagh Gaming's here.
Hello, Mum. Happy Mother's Day.
There you go. And then we have Dimreaper. Who's got a... What's your channel called, Dim?
Oh, it's going to be called The Hobby Git.
The Hobby Git. So we've Dimreaper from the
Yeah.
Hobby Git. So there you go.
I've
That's
already
all of
got
us
his theme.
introduced.
I've already got his theme. Just do 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 do.
And flag for copyright. Boom.
Also, way too cheery.
Yay.
That's
That's it.
positively jaunty compared to what I had in mind.
So this being a Sunday hobby hangout, who's doing what hobby? I'm going to be working on me Pain Boy. I'm doing his bass while we're chatting away. What are you lads doing?
You can't ask us like that, mate. You got to address us by name because you'll get it all three of us fucking.
Oh,
yelling
all
at
right.
once.
Right, Dim. We'll start with Dim then. We'll walk from the top and start our way down. What's Dim working on?
I'm doing green stuff fur.
He's doing green stuff forward on his trolls.
And
is
if I can dare risk it, I may change cameras. I don't know. I don't know if I dare after all the fuck
Don't.
faff we had on.
Don't. Don't.
it?
Well, to be fair, I'm just going to be doing more of what my first video is going to be because I've already done a video of me green stuff sculpting fur. So I'll just
To see what Dim's doing, revert to his channel and watch his video. There you go. How about that?
This is
When
where you
I
plug
upload-
yourself
when I
in the
upload
comment
it.
section.
There
You
you
know
go.
what I mean?
yeah.
Right. So what's Steve-O going to be working on tonight?
I am having a break from Tank Busters because I'm getting past the base coating bit and I'm sort of doing the little detail bits now. So I've switched to my grots and my shooter boys to complete my 1K. They're sprayed undercoated, but for now I'm just slapping on a bit more black to get the little bits I've missed. And if I get any time tonight, I'll also start dry brushing some metal on them. So I'm just doing some nice, simple stuff.
And then
And
last
let's
but
just-
not least, Dread. What are you working on tonight, dude?
I have lined up all of my grot bits and I'm going to be putting all my grots together. because I've got loads of them, and it's about bloody time, innit? And now we're going to be having grot armies, apparently.
Well, there you go. That's a segue into it.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a grot version of the mechs and the orcs that you have to include, because then I don't have to include them if I want to have a only grot army. I'll just have a count as model.
That's good. It's the kind of the only option open to us now, isn't it? It's you can. I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a lot of like grot pain boys, grot HQs,
proxies, yeah.
etc. But put them on the bigger bases and make a nice scenic base and with rubble and stuff to give them some height and just use them as counts as. It's not what we wanted, but we don't need GW to give us the miniatures. We'll find a way somehow to have a true grot army. Well, at least I know Dim will.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure he has some already. I'm definitely seeing him at some of the Waaagh meets. You have like some proxy HQs for grots already, don't you?
Oh yeah, loads. The codex did invalidate 8 of them. They were just relegated to the index. But I've got like a few. I will go and grab some. It's probably relevant today, so I'll go and when you guys are talking about stuff, I'll go and grab some and show them on the video. And just
grab your grots.
I will go grab my Gretchen. If anyone says Gretchens, I will kill you.
I was actually, I got them all out. I was going to be playing with my knobs today, but I decided to do the grots instead. But I was going to play with my knobs.
Right, so we might as well talk about it. I find that we're awash with knobs, to be honest with you. Like, they seem like the filler unit for any box set that they have. They seem to just throw a knob set in just to buff it up. Like, if we look at the box set, we're awash with knobs. There's knobs everywhere. Up to our bleeding elbows in them, we are, I tell you. But, like, if we look at the previous box sets,
coming at us from every angle. Oh,
jeez.
Right, go on, get them out of your system. Get the knob ones out.
Get them out of what?
Get them out. Get them out of your system now. Go on. But yeah, they're in all the box sets though. You know what I mean? They're like that. They're that filler unit. I find the start collecting box set, you have 5 knobs. Now it's like, okay, you're new to orcs, so that's fine. But the Stormclaw box sets we've had previously. Yeah, exactly.
They love to fill a box with a knob.
GW love filling boxes full of knobs. They really do. But the new box set we have now, Stormclaw, pretty much any box set you've come across recently for orcs has a sprue of them, like 5 of them in. And I find they're filler, like, you know what I mean?
It's because it's a nice cheap set that they can throw in without bumping up the price too much, and it's a cheap set. It is a fantastic set. It's one of the best sets in the orc range. But we are getting a little bit tired of it now. It's great for new players. Someone just starting out an orc army, this set will be great for them, It's a very elite army, mind you. But I suppose if you get this set and mix it with like the start collecting set, you're going to get even more knobs. So a full unit of 10 knobs.
You have a full unit
you get
of
some
10,
boys in there and a pain boy. You get But yeah, I don't know. It's nice. You can interchange them with the mega knobs and that. So straight out of the box, you're getting some mix and match the heads.
It's not a bad kit. That's not the argument I have. I think it's just like for players who've been around a while, where there's a bit of saturation going on. But there's use for them. It's a good kit. It's very diverse. There's a lot of bits and pieces in it. And then
I've got too many fucking knob sprues already. Yeah. I've got so fucking many. I don't know what to do with them. But yeah, it's it's the, like you say, it's the filler in it. It's the filler section of the box. The mega knobs, on the other hand, fantastic inclusion. Fantastic, because that is.
I don't have too many of them anywhere. No.
What's better than a knob? A mega knob. So yeah, I've been crying out for ages for them to. They're never going to reduce prices. So the best thing you can hope for is that they put them in some kind of start collecting or starter set. And so it gives people a great way to get their hands on some mega knobs for a cut down price. And I got mine. I pre-ordered my set like most of us have, I'm sure, through a discount, 20% off. Split it with someone, so 42 quid, and I'd be paying only a few quid less than that for just a box of mega knobs, and I'm getting Gazgol, Makari, and some knobs thrown in there. So it is, for an orc player, it's incredible value. It really is. It really, really is. Because they are a bloody expensive set, an amazing set, one of my favourites, if not my favourite. But just still stupidly overpriced. So great inclusion to put them in there.
Sucks to be Space Wolves, though, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They got the short end of the stick on this one.
I was actually in with Nick. Nick was in his. He was in a chat with some wolf guys. Oh, what's their channel called? Gosh, bad. Yeah, there's a
sadpuppies.com or something.
Yeah, no, I was in there the other night chatting to them for a little while, and yeah, they weren't very happy themselves, you know, with what they got. You know, most of them said that they just want Ragnar. They're not going to bother with the box. They're just going to wait for people like us to stick him up online. So,
well, the thing is, on the Space Wolf side of things, like, they're not Space Wolf themed. They're just Primaris Marines. They're so vanilla. They are so vanilla.
Yeah.
And could they have, at the very least, because this exists, a Space Wolf upgrade sprue? Because we know that exists.
Oh yeah, can go in the box.
Just pop that in there. Here you go. They're normal Space Marines, but we've thrown in some pelts and some shoulder pads and some heads with bloody, you know, bits. And
that's too much of a good idea.
it's, and I mean, I'm sure existing Space Wolf players are going to have an extensive bits box already to be able to do that. But also their weaponry, they're shooty. You want blood claws, you want chainswords and bolt pistols, you want lightning claws. I mean, so yeah, sucks to be them, but great to be us.
Yeah, I mean, the Primaris, like, you can see the duplicates. And you can see the sort of subtle things where they've slightly twisted the models in like slight changes in color scheme to hide how exactly the same they are. But this is my biggest problem with Primaris, is just like, where's the hobby in those kits? You build them more or less to a very limited set of fixed poses. And when you've got like the level of diversity that you have with Space Marines, like, that's just cheap and lazy.
The hobby is whatever they dictate it is, and the hobby currently is, you know, meta players, and you know.
The trouble with the Primaris range is it's still very much in its infancy. They're still getting the basic line out there. Eventually, you will have specialized Blood Angels, Space Wolves, you know, Salamanders, you know, characters and units and stuff, and that will come. But it's it has been really lazy on this part, on their front.
I mean, just to put it back there, like the last time we had like a major sort of change in how Space Marines was Third Ed, and that plastic tactical squad came out. That was the primer for all of the Space Marines that followed up until 8th edition. And that kit was so malleable when it came out. You could do so much with it. And contrast to these, you can barely do anything.
It's like our boys kit, isn't it? You know.
I mean, they do have these ones they do have in there does have options, doesn't it? Because it is options. You can make 2 different types of squads out of it, can't you?
They're like infiltrators or
I never remember the names.
Whatever.
The same, but
the Space Wolves got shafted on this box.
Yeah,
they definitely did.
I mean, they got shafted in range of miniatures, but they certainly didn't get shafted on the fucking potency of Ragnar. Like, I would say one of the most powerful characters in the game now.
What I think they've done,
unless he comes up against Gaz specifically.
Yes.
Go on, Dread. I'll let you talk. Try get the other two to shut up.
Who's in the box with him?
Forgot what I want to say now. No. What they're doing is they're giving options for same pose minis rather than giving you the options to sort of move around. So instead of having like you've got with these little grots that I've got here, like with legs, bodies, arms, and stuff like that, you've got like with these grots instead, we've got a change of head or a change of gun. It's options, but not in the same way. And I think they're focusing more on just people being able to build stuff quick, paint it quick, and get playing the game, because it's all about playing the game. You know, that's, I think, their focus now, and the hobby is taking a backseat.
Yeah, but I think the game, it's always been dictated by the game, though. Because if you ever see the change in an edition, you'll see people ripping weapon arms off and putting different ones on. Like, as soon as 8th edition came out, I was in my local Games Workshop to pick something up, and there was guys all... what was I saying? I was asking them, like, oh, what are you up to? And they were ripping arms off of jump pack marines and giving them thunder hammers. I was like, oh, what are you up to? He's like, oh, I'm forging the narrative. It's like,
I
you know what I mean?
I would berate them, but at the launch of 8th, I ripped all the Grotzukas off my killer cans.
Oh, Stevo.
Because
you're just a meta whore at heart. That's what you are. Look, the truth comes out in the end.
I love Grotzukas. They look so cool and everything. And I do like, these are shit. What have they done to them? I'm like,
I want to criticize
I'm swapping them
you.
out for big shooters.
I really want to criticize you because I love the Grotzuka, but it is a pile of wank now.
It really is. And it's a shame because it looks so cool and I love the look of it.
Get using your bloody magnets and then you won't have that problem when you get a switch and change.
Skit's too lazy to magnetize. That's what I'm like.
Oh, look. Oh, no. I magnetize every one of my miniatures. Thank you very much.
On the base.
On the base, yeah.
On the fucking... There's a magnet on my couch.
And do you know what? I've never magnetized anything because I use it as an excuse. That way, once I've built something and painted it that way, and then I want one with the other options, it gives me an excuse to buy another one and build another one with the other option. So I was kind of like that.
Well, we ain't all got that sort of money.
Not all of us, yeah. Not all of us. So did everybody order a box set? Because I've ordered 2 and I've pretty much agreed to sell like the Space Wolf half of one of them. I'm trying to get me hustle on and sell it. The other halves I don't care. So ultimately my aim is I'll have bought a box that'll be, double whatever the orcs get. But apart from that, I'm like, meh.
Yeah, no, I have, yeah.
So you've ordered one, Steve?
Yeah, I've ordered one. I was tempted to order 2, just to basically, I was tempted to just make some money and scalp it a bit, but I was like, no. I ended up going into town and buying more orc stuff as well. They kind of set the ball rolling and ended up buying a load of other stuff as well.
And Dim, what are you doing? You getting a box or?
I mentioned this in our impromptu live stream last night, but I'm not buying the box at all. A friend of mine sort of said, look, we all know exactly which model you want. There is precisely one model in that box you want. It's a small little grot. I'm doubling up. I won't need 2 Macquaries, have one. So I'm arranging, hopefully, fingers crossed if it all goes through, I'm arranging to get Macquarie, and that's all I'm getting. I will definitely get the book, and I know we're going to start talking about the book shortly, because Grots finally get something, like they get some rules.
Well, since we're talking about the book, we might as well segue into it. You know what I mean? The issue though, from what I gather, in regards to Grots is, so they've made Macari, since we're talking about him, a Grot HQ, but he has the Goth clan keyword. So in order to take him as a HQ, you'd have to take him in a Goth clan detachment for Gretchen, which means that they can't have a Gretchen clan culture, or what are these new things called?
Yeah, they're called mobs apparently, but they are, in all intents and purposes, clans.
Right.
They're clans by any other name.
So
they
it's
exactly
the subcultures, isn't it? I think the thing's called.
It's kind of shitty to call it a subculture because people might come away from the whole subculture thing thinking, oh right, so these add to my clan rules. No, they don't. They replace them.
Yeah.
So it's either or. They're not supplemental to.
Yeah. Which means that anything with a fixed clan, so any special character basically, and a couple of other units probably that I can't think of right now, are that particular clan. So they would completely destroy the allegiance. You wouldn't get the allegiance. You can tell I play mostly AOS, can't you? They kind of destroy the that so that we would prevent you from getting the rules for the rest of the faction. Which means that the grot mob, we finally get a grot HQ, and we finally get something that allows grots to actually get an actual rule so that when they play, they aren't completely bloody boring. And we can't take that HQ because of the way they've worded grot mobs, where, you know, what they probably should have done with it is make it so that, not that it's in addition to clan cultures, although a lot of people online are arguing that they probably should have been in addition. Like, they should have just had it that what clan you belong to doesn't particularly matter for this culture. You have a separate culture instead that doesn't worry about clans, and you know, so no clan would throw off the allegiance of it, but no clan would gain a benefit either, and do it that way, which would have made much more sense. But I think the rules were rushed a little bit too much. That obviously wasn't an option.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at these things. I'm like, okay, so this FAQ 2 weeks later, you know, there's a few things I think would be obviously fixed. Something like what we're just talking about there. And then, you know, people aren't happy with Gazgul himself as well. It's like, oh, he's a monster. It shafts so much because he's been given the monster profile. So I suppose when we get our hands on the book, next Saturday, isn't it? And the box set. Yeah. We then have to wait until 2 weeks afterwards to see what the FAQ and erratas and stuff are, to actually see what we're going to actually be playing with. Because there's a few bits and pieces that are a bit squiff.
I reckon I've got a strong feeling when that FAQ comes out that it's going to address the issues of like Gaz not being able to be buffed by his own aura abilities. I think they will fix that. I think they will. At least I hope they will. Because that does make sense. But other than that, I don't have an issue with the monster keyword other than it having that effect on him. Look at him. He's a monster.
Yeah, I'm not arguing on.
He was never going to be not be able to picked out by snipers, guys. You know, there is a price to pay for size. Yeah, I think they will address that. And on the grot mobs thing, I don't know.
My one issue with Gaz being a monster is is Papa Smurf a monster?
How big's Papa? Oh, I thought you meant the real Papa Smurf.
They are one and the same, and you know it.
Yeah.
Rabot Gulliman, isn't it? It's Rabuti Gulliman or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
Is he monster? Has he got the monster keyword? Because he's basically, he's obviously not quite as beefy, but he's a big guy. He's
big for sure.
But he's a human being at the end of the day, so he couldn't be classed as a monster, could he?
No, I mean, he's sort of, I don't know what, double the height of a human being. I mean, he is a lot bigger even than a Primaris, isn't he? He stands head and shoulders above a Primaris, but
humans, but they're still so they would never classify them as a monster. It just doesn't fit with.
Yeah.
I mean, on the
always been done.
Going back on the grot mobs thing, I think they've missed some tricks on the grot mobs. They really have, and the points you've made are definitely valid there. But having said that, it is good that they've given us something, and there are some nice buffs in there. Yeah. It's good. But it still means that if you want that true grot army, you have to be creative and convert and do things and use counts as rules, which are okay, but it's not quite as fun because you have to sort of explain the high strength and the various difference in stats. You're playing a grot miniature with orc stat lines, and it does kind of,
there are solutions.
It clashes a bit, but it can be overcome and stuff. But I think, though, on the whole, the subcultures things are very interesting, and there is some good stuff in this book. There is some very good, interesting stuff in there.
Should we talk about the subcultures in general then, and then we can move on to the other bits afterwards?
Yeah.
I know quite a few of you probably have quite a bit to say about the various custom jobs.
They're suddenly going to sell a lot of them mech workshops now, aren't they? I might even buy one now.
I already know, because like when you bring a mech workshop, you get one custom job free, but you're still
Yeah,
paying
you
the
do,
points for the mech workshop. So, is it going to be worth it in the long run?
You don't pay the turn, so that I think the mech workshop's worth it for the points, but it's not worth it for the turn it takes. So if you just paid the points for it and you didn't have to wait a turn for it to do upgrades, it'd be worthwhile.
And it is very cheap on points, isn't it? It's not a lot of points.
Like 90 points, isn't it? Or 100?
I don't know. I don't think you'll see a big.
Like, I mean,
big
I think, and can't you? I think, can you not spend CP to get more custom jobs as well?
Oh, you can.
You get
but
one for free.
The whole thing is you'll if you pay the points for the mech workshop, you'll get one of them that you pay CP for free. So that's the only.
So you get a
buff,
free
really.
one just for paying the points for the mech shop, but then
Yeah,
you
just for
can
having the
spend
mech shop.
CP on getting more, so you can have more. And like, I don't know, for example, if you were running a full dread mob and you were willing to pay out the points and a few CP on maxing out, getting those like pistons on a few of your different cans and dreads, and it's a very impressive like movement buff and things. It makes like imagine if you've got like a big close combat tooled up dreads and cans, and suddenly you are rampaging across the board really fast. I think it's given us loads of options and different ways of building our armies. For example, I'm very intrigued by the I can't remember which one it is now. Whichever one, it's the grot mobs actually. The grot mobs. No, yeah, the boom boys is one, but also the grot mobs, because I can now build sort of two, like in a large game, like 2 battalion detachments, and have one of them with all my mech guns and all my cans in, and build and fill out the troop slot with grots and that, give them all the buffs, and then have all my Orky stuff in the other thing with the Bad Moon clan trait, and then I can have my entire army re-rolling ones in the shooting phase. Never again do I have to worry about, right, re-roll and keep having to remind myself, no, I can't do that with mech guns because they're grots. No, I can't do that with cans because they're grots. And so I'm liking the look of that. And yes, Dread, the Boom Boys as well. That definitely caught my eye, obviously.
Well, just explain to people what the grots culture does, just in case someone's been living under a rock and is watching.
Yep.
No, Dim, do I have to?
Oh, right, yeah. So it's oh god, Gretchen. Oh no, it's Gretchen units. Any unit with the Gretchen keyword has a 6+ invulnerable, which is of moderate use. It's all right. And then all Gretchen vehicles have +1 to hit. And I can't remember whether it specifies shooting or both. I think it's probably both, which is actually quite useful on particularly killer cans. It almost makes the Grotzuka worth taking, but no, because it's a pile of fucking shit.
Still makes a big shooter better.
Steve-O, we completely agree.
What? Dun, dun, dun.
The big shooter is just
there you
better.
go.
It's just better. It just fucking is. It's a reliable amount of shots that, will actually see some use. And it's got Daka, so
no negative modifiers. It's an assault weapon, and it's good range.
Yeah. And it's 36. It's 36 enough for big shooters, if I remember.
Yeah, 36.
So it's like you're going to be shooting with it more often. It's just better.
So I was remembering it wrong. So it's a +1 to hit for the grots, not a re-roll of ones.
Yeah.
It's
not +1 to hit. It's re-roll ones.
Oh yeah, it's re-roll.
It is re-roll ones. Yeah.
Jesus,
but there is though. I know why Dim's saying that though, because there is something else that gives cans and things +1 to hit.
Oh yeah. I'm getting mixed up with a custom job.
Yeah, but you can combine those, so now you can be +1 to hit plus custom job. It's pretty fucking special. You can cans hitting on 3+ with re-rolls of 1s. Cans are suddenly really fucking good. With 6+ invuln saves, and then +1 to hit in combat, because cans get a 5+ in combat. Now they're hitting on 4s in combat. That's again, I'm gonna love using my cans again now.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more cans. We're going to see a lot of... I think it's sort of overall some of the clans and units that are good have gotten a few boosts, but I think like some of the, especially in the meta, some of the mid-tier type of stuff has gotten a bit of a boost as well. I think you might see a bit more diversity in orc armies. I think that'll happen.
I'm looking forward to using my Blitzer bomber now to throw out a fuckload of mortal wounds on turn one.
Born a bomber, man. Born a bomber.
Yeah, Blitzer for me, and I know that's the unpopular
if you're gonna do it properly, you do the nosedive. All right, you fly your Born bomber over. You drop your mortal wounds, right, and the Born bomber gets a straight 3 mortal wounds when it explodes, whereas the Blitzer bomber is D3.
Yeah, but I prefer the Blitzer bomber bombs.
I hope so.
Blitzer bombs are so much better than the burner bombs.
I don't know, man.
But now you fly either bomber, fly them in, drop your bombs, throw out some mortal wounds, and then do a flying headbutt and throw out a fuckload more mortal wounds and just kill it off turn 1 and think fuck it, and that's just going to be so orky, so crazy, and it's some people have moaned that it's during the movement phase, and they're like, oh yeah, but then so I'm like, so you can't shoot and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it's like a gamble, isn't it? You can choose maybe
be a downside to it.
Yeah, and that's fair. But
and aside
really
of killing it before you get to, there is no counter to that.
Yeah.
So
and they won't get the victory point for it either. If you're
will
playing
they
for,
get
points and
force
stuff,
blood or the victory points for it though? That's the question.
I don't know, because the rule probably just says
that's something that'll have to be like,
You'd have to look in the rule. I don't know what the exact wording on the rule is. I think the wording on the rule is you get first blood when you destroy a unit, or it might just say when an enemy unit is destroyed. So I'm not sure on that one. Depends how it's worded.
We'll see what happens, but I look forward to flying that directly into a Tau castle of some form.
And bad moons get proper hard boys, 4+ save hard boys now, because you can do the hard boys stratagem to give them the shitty 5+, but then you use your bad moon psychic power to buff it up to a 4+, so I can have proper
old school,
proper bad moon hard boy shooter boys. Like, I'm so chuffed with that.
Not worth it though, is it?
It's still going to cost me 2.
It's the principle, Dim. It's the principle.
It's a lot of faff to get what should have been a 4 to begin with.
True. And it's still 2 fucking CP and a fucking, like you say, a psychic power in that, but at least I can have it.
Well, yeah, indeed. That's true. But I think this is probably the general sort of criticism I have of the entirety of the Orc Psychic Awakening. It's trying to fix things that should have been right the first time.
Does feel a little bit like that, to be fair. It does feel like they're addressing some of the issues and that, but I guess that's kind of true of most of their expansions and things, isn't it? But
it's almost like when you go to an entire war game and redo it, it's not easy.
This sounded like tinfoil hat territory to me.
I'll put it back on if you want.
So what do you think, Dread, of the clan cultures and stratagems we're getting?
Well, I am looking forward to the grots stuff. I'm hoping that maybe grot tanks will be mainstream, because that'd be good for me, because I've got a lot of grot tank stuff going on in my life at the moment. So yeah, I'm hoping for that. But in the meantime, I'm making a grot force, and I thought I might make some of the characters. So I've just stuck this guy together here. He's from the green one actually, but I don't know if he's going to be available. He's like a little doc.
Medic.
He's cool.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. So yeah, that one. So I've got that, and then as an HQ, I've got the original red gobbo with a claw.
Hey.
Badass.
Yeah, I'm just putting them together, doing that. Sorry, I'm being a bit quiet. I'm just letting you guys speak.
Munching on a bleeding Easter egg. Don't think we didn't see that. Yeah, fucking.
Is that a Naz Dread claw there?
Talking about Easter eggs, right? Get this, yeah. The candy exchange thing I do, yeah. If anyone out there wants to do it with me, you're probably
about to beg for candy, people.
Hang on, you're gonna probably have to hold on to your stuff for a little while because of the old coronavirus stuff. But now's a good time to buy it because it's Easter, isn't it? And Dread likes Easter. So there is mini eggs, Cadbury's mini eggs. This is a thing that we get here, right? It's well nice. The little mini eggs are so tasty, yeah. So I'm gonna send them to someone if they want to send me some stuff. But also the other thing we get this time of year, something you ain't never had, is a Cadbury's cream egg. They didn't even bother like doing the foil on that one proper, but they are well nice. They're like, isn't it, guys? Cadbury's cream egg and the old mini eggs, they are like classics, isn't it?
Oh, they're mint. They're mint.
Yeah.
They're not actually mint flavored, guys. It's like a English thing. They're really tasty.
They're really good. What that means, they're really good.
Remember the old cream egg adverts? Do you remember them?
How do you eat yours?
Yeah.
Actually, a good question for all of us there. How do you eat your cream eggs?
What was it?
Oh, God.
2 at a time, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 at a time, bitch, yeah.
Oh god. Absolutely hilarious.
Well, Scar, like, has there been anything in the book that's caught your eye with the blood axes and stuff? And like, I haven't really taken much note of that. I know there was a subculture that was very similar to the blood axes and the same kind of theme of commandos. I sounded like a bit more of a slight diversion from it, but similar. And their
There's a few bits and pieces. There's nothing that I'm like, oh my god, yeah. I haven't got the book in my hand, so I don't want to be going, oh, I'm definitely doing this, I'm definitely doing that. I've ordered the book. I haven't ordered a special edition like somebody around here, all right? I've just ordered the...
Dread.
Who's the Muppet?
We keep telling you, mate, it's just a
I ain't done
fucking
it this
cover,
time.
all right?
I ain't done it this time. You do, you mug.
So I've ordered this
Fuck's sake,
standard...
Dread. Fuck's sake.
We keep telling him, mate, he never listens.
It's in one ear and out the other, I tell
How
you.
many times do you have to get burnt?
I ain't even buying the book.
Oh.
I'll download it. Be honest
He
with you.
doth protest too much, methinks.
We don't
Become a
condone...
proper freebooter.
We don't condone such actions around here. I wouldn't know what you're talking about there. But yeah, I've ordered the book, and I think I'll wait until I get it in my hands, because I know some people have been given the book a week beforehand, and they've done stuff about it, but it's like even the Codex. I didn't do a review of the Codex. Well, I still haven't done a review of the Codex, because I'm like, I like to get a few games under me belt.
Oh, Scar, we did like a 3.5 hour review.
We did
of
a
that
3.5
Codex.
hour like read through. We read through it and we were like, I think the highlight of that video for me was
we read it cover to cover and dissected each page, and we were dead afterwards.
giving out stink, giving out hell. I was like, where's the mega armored warboss? Speaking of units that are missing and have come back, we now have the big mech with custom force field again.
Yeah, fuck yeah, GW. You don't fuck with us. See, we bent them over and we fucking took it back. We took it back, and you had no choice but to give it to us.
I reckon that's a community survey did that.
Yeah, I reckon so.
So many people just say, what the actual
Yeah.
KFF?
Now they should have gone one better and given us the mega armored war boss back again.
And
But
bikes.
they did give us this new stratagem of the big killer boss, which is really nice. A stratagem buff to your war boss, because war bosses are far too squishy. And yeah, what gives them what? +1 attack and +1 wound, and a 4+ invuln save.
You know what's important? Do you know what's important though? Is not
Lucky
all
stick.
these- The rules don't matter. It's the models, right? It's the models. So I don't really.
Dim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me all right, yeah?
Yes, we're all... Hey, I'm just waiting for Dread to join back in. We're never using this again, lads. Never.
Hey, do you know what? I think the only reason it kicked me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
I think the only reason it kicked me is because it was my free trial thing. I hadn't joined properly. I think it might have been the case for a lot of us, maybe.
I'm back.
But,
Yay.
there you go.
Get rid of me that way, did you?
So
mate?
have you been all by yourself, Skarnir, keeping them?
I've been sort of
occupied?
like, sorry about the technical
Kick me out, you
technical difficulties. Sorry, guys, my fault. Oh my god, you couldn't make this up, like.
I bet you was having a little conversation without me, weren't you, eh?
I was like,
I'd
that
just
Dread,
to say,
I
guys,
swear to God, sick of him. Sick of him.
I just think this has been
I'm leaving.
a successful live stream so far. It
The
really
best.
has.
It's like I'm setting a standard here. If something doesn't go wrong, it's like, what's going on, Skarnir? Why hasn't it shit itself?
As we had an interruption, shall I show the grot HQs that I managed to locate?
Yes,
Go for it.
please.
Right, so I have got a special aid. It is a piece of paper. Oh, yeah.
I'll provide backing music.
That's my
Love it.
weird grot / weird boy.
That's cool. See, that is an awesome way to do it on the right base size and everything as well. To be in with the rules and scale and that, but do it in a really creative way.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Those are the orderlies from the actual weird boy itself, and I've got like can't remember what that's off.
Is that Skarsnik on top as well?
That is indeed Skarsnik with
Awesome.
a minute amount of changes. A
Brilliant.
skull on the staff rather than the halberd, and then that's a zombie hand. They're great for other hands. This is one that a friend made for me for a Secret Santa, which is a little big back with custom force field.
Oh,
And
yeah.
power claw that we
Back
totally
it up
can't
a
do.
little bit for people to
That is
see
cool.
a bit. Maybe.
There we go.
Up. Your lighting's like meh, back. Meh.
Hang on a minute. If I do, this is a portable light after all.
That might work. Hold on. Oh Jesus! Here we
Look
go.
at our Scar.
Light.
Scar, he has only got 2 hands. Shit.
There you go.
Back into the light. Back
It
towards
looks
the
cool.
light.
It looks.
Go
you can
towards
see
the
that-
light. Don't move the light. I said the minute. Oh Jesus! Right, do what you want, mate. Just.
Front on the camera.
We get a nice silhouette of it. We can get the idea. He looks pretty cool. He looks
Yeah,
cool.
his silhouette
He
is
looks
all we're getting.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh, I love
Probably
it.
just easier
You
if
know
I
what?
do that.
Do you know what? Put that light away. Put that paper down and just hold it up near the camera. I'm sure it'd be better.
Yeah. There.
Yeah, that's actually better.
Fucking hell. For all that effort. Yeah. And that's my.
If I was dim now, I'd be like, yeah, I'll hold something up to the camera for you.
Behold my knob.
No, God, no.
Oh.
And then that is one of the first ones I made a long time ago. Oh my god, it's so direly in need of repairs. But
Fucking hell. And
got
what
like
does
a
that count
swig.
as?
running the wheel. I normally use this as this is in different incarnations been a big mech in Mega Armor and normally a big mech on a bike.
I'd say that could be counted as a fucking Death Dread with 4 close combat fucking weapons.
Oh, I've had a brilliant idea for a Death Dread. Well, I say I've had a brilliant idea. I've stolen a brilliant idea for a Death Dread from Scar's live streams, but I want to.
Is it using Trogoffs by any chance?
No. It's a pack of 3 killer cans, and then sticking them together, and then making sort of like a big sort of metal trench coat. So it's 3
That's
killer
cool as
cans
fuck.
pretending to be a Death Dread.
Yeah.
Sneaking into a movie theater.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, that has to be done. That has to be done.
two's enough. You don't need
That's-
3.
That's all I had handy. I've got a Death Dread somewhere. I couldn't find it. I was having a rummage whilst when we got kicked, but somewhere I've got like a Death Dread that I'm making into sort of like my own sort of mini gas with like a grot sitting at like a pilot's seat, and then a huge sort of basically sort of Death Dread warsuit with new weapons, and then
Maybe there's the option of just using like mega armored war bosses or Ghazi or whatever, and just having wires sticking out of their fucking adamantium skulls and a little grot sitting on a little chair on the back with a little control pad controlling him.
Oh, you
And
can
there
do
you
all
go.
sorts,
There's your
yeah.
grot commander. Like he's lobotomized him, and he's the real brains behind the outfit. Master Blaster styly.
Mm. Who run Bartertown?
oh, that's what you do with your grot oiler.
We've got the model of that.
So you
Yeah.
you use the sort of Frankenstein knob head from the knob kit,
Mm-hmm.
and you stick that on almost like he's had a lobotomy with like a remote control stuck in, and then
Fuck yeah.
for the grot oiler, it's just a grot with like a remote control.
Yeah, like an Atari stick or
controlling the
something.
Your Zoom's not playing ball there, Dread.
Well, it's because I'm not saying anything, isn't it?
That is.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you.
Oh, right, okay. Well, there you go then. That's Master Blaster. Can you see him?
A
Roughly.
blurred view of him,
Hold
yeah.
on.
We get. There you go. You had it there.
See,
Yeah, hold it
that's-
still. Hold
Hey!
it still. There you go. Max Mini.
I was gonna say
Nice.
Is
like
that
it.
yeah? I was gonna say, is that the Max Mini one or is that the
It is.
yeah?
It's boy size though. It's not even knob size. It's boy size, but it's still a really cool model to have in the gang. I'm just gonna put a weapon in his arm in his hand because he ain't got one. So
Very cool.
Well, I don't know whether or not it still exists, but there was this is a warm not it's not a war machine, it's a hordes model, but there's a troll faction and they had like a dire troll blitzer. And it's like it's a troll with like a huge machine gun on its back with like a demented little pygmy or pig or whatever it's called, just shooting it, and you just replace that with a grot, and you're pretty much good to go. And then you just say, "Oh, this is just like a troll squig."
How about this for an idea? I see you talking on the stream yesterday. A lot of talk of ogrins and stuff, and like how you said mercenary ogrins. What about using ogrins as knobs or mega knobs or whatever on the stat line, and having them in your grot army, because the grots have hired, so you don't have any orcs in your army, and it still wouldn't technically be an all grot army, but grots would hire some big hard boys to fight for them and stuff. And I think that would be quite cool actually, having some ogrins in a grot army to take the place of orc units and stuff.
Yeah,
and you can still use death dreads, but what's to say that a grot's not inside there instead of a an orc?
I mean, if you want like the easiest way to get like an orc profile is to use squig hoppers.
Mm.
So you've got the you just give some of those goblins like a pistol or two, and you've got slugger boys.
Yep.
I'd allow that if I saw that.
And it's the easiest way, because if you add like a grot sort of, or at least it used to work, but if you added like a grot profile onto a squig profile, it wasn't a million miles away from an orc profile anyway.
What I'd really like to see is the the Gene Stealer cult bikes, using grots on them and having grot bikers, because I think they would look very cool actually. I think there could be some conversion possibilities there.
I'm going to use them I'm going to do some like humans for my narrative thing, but
oh yeah, it'd be perfect for like diggers and stuff, wouldn't they? It'd be perfect for diggers.
That's what I'm doing, some like diggers, yeah.
So if Games Workshop were to actually give us a grot HQ that we could use in one of these grot subcultures or whatever, what would people want? Like, what could we actually have? Obviously, they shafted the Red Gobbo and he's just an elite's choice. So, if they did something with him and made him a HQ, what else would you want?
Chatting about this on Messenger yesterday, and I ended up bloody just thinking up loads of like special rules for like a grot commander and stuff. And I would want something that's pretty weak and shit on stats, cheap in points, but has some really cunning, devious, sneaky, cowardly fucking rules that would have some interesting effects on the game. I like the idea, as I said, like you'd have like some kind of rule of like peacocking propaganda or something. Like the grots within range of him are so inspired by all his big talk and stuff, they actually start to believe their own hype and get like a buff to their leadership and like some extra shots or something like that. And I like the idea as well that almost like a grot shield stratagem, that if he dies, another grot in a unit nearby can just be taken instead to represent that he has been killed, but another grot has quickly grabbed his hat and cape and taken up the slot, and now he's the
filled
big
his
boss
boots
or whatever. And another rule I thought of was that as soon as he's charged, he can immediately perform a fallback move, roll a dice on like a 2+ sign. He can immediately fall back to make him a real little hard bastard to catch, because he's so fucking cowardly that as soon as anyone charges him, he shits his kegs and legs it. But it's actually like tactically beneficial. He can
retreat without penalty. And retreat
and just leave them stranded. They successfully charge him, and then like, right, no, I fall back before you even get a chance to hit me. Like he's that cowardly. He just legs it.
It reminds me of the most Skaven-y of Skaven characters from Warhammer Fantasy Battle, a rat called Tretch Skaven, Craven Tail, or was it Skaven Tail? I can never remember. But Tretch was his name, and he had the rule: stay there, I'll get help. And if he was in,
Nice.
if he was with a Skaven unit, like if the enemy that he was fighting with was engaged by at least something else, or like he was in a unit at the time, he could just bugger off and leave them to it. So long as there was one friendly unit he could con into staying there.
Yeah,
Just so
definitely.
you
For
could nick
rules,
off.
some sort of rules like that would work great for a grot commander. I see like a lot of people were chatting about, oh, make like a killer can, a HQ. I'm like, I don't like that. I don't really like that idea. I like the idea of just a little weedy little grot in like a trench coat that he's robbed from someone and a captain's hat and some medals on it or whatever. Look, looking all, but then as soon as it all comes to it, he's like, no. And it's all just propaganda and hype.
I mean, like, I
Why
do.
is Dim's shoulder looking like a rave with a flashing red light?
It's his headset.
That'll be,
That'll be the
That's
headset.
that's probably my. It'll either be that or it'll be the monitor behind me.
No, it's
It's
the
just
headset.
he's at a silent disco and doing a live chat at the same time.
Multitasking at its finest.
I mean, I write like fan rules from time to time. I mean, I don't really bother much with 40k at the moment, but like, I quite like doing fan rules, and I was working on some 8th edition sort of Gretchen Bandits, and Gretchen Bandits is a faction in the Freebooters from the sort of 1st edition of the game, and the only way I could really get them to really do much in 8th, but it seemed to fit them quite well still, was this whole idea of sort of like combat synergy. So like whenever like they could get like bonuses if when attacking a unit that's engaged by at least one other friendly unit, and then your leader could bugger off out of that unit if his friendly unit's there, and all sorts of various things of like, so long as you got plenty of grots to throw at stuff, you getting buffs. And I think that would be the way to do it. Like, I would quite like a Gretchen sort of bandit leader. That would be what I would kind of like, or a head honcho, just a plain head honcho. It's like a grot revolutionary, something like that.
Like this dude.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, him.
I love that model, by the way. It's a really, really cool model.
That's why
Classic.
I ain't got a name on it yet.
Or even just a generic banner waver. So we
Yeah, I
like,
was just thinking you could have banner waver and be like
So- yeah. So like Macquarie, but
Banner
not named.
waver. There he is.
yeah, him.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've got more to hand at the moment. Yeah. I've actually got old Macari here too. Check out old school Macari. He's tiny.
Where's the Top Gun? What did you do to him?
Around somewhere as well.
You got sat on, remember?
Yeah, quite literally. I
But
sat
yeah,
in the
this
middle.
is definitely a
my-
grot banner waiver is like, even regardless of grot mobs, like there's totally believable to have a banner waiver, because I don't see an orc being that bothered about waving a banner, or that being much of an honor to an orc boy. He just wants to get fighting. Oh, what am I stuck holding the bloody stick?
That'd be the way to bring the Waaagh banner back without.
Yeah, give that job to a
banner.
bloody grot. Same way as in grots use the mech guns and stuff, because orcs, it's a bit boring sitting at the back, isn't it? Like doing that, they want to be out fighting. Same as like, I want grot snipers. I'd love to have
Yeah.
grot snipers, because an orc, there's not many orcs that would be bothering with weaponry.
Commandos.
Like that.
I could definitely see commandos.
Yeah, commandos probably, but otherwise, it's grots. It would be perfect for them being very cowardly and sneaky.
Yeah,
And
stuff.
it's already fluffy.
Yeah, it's already in the
all the
books. We know they exist. That's
Portraits
They
getting
should be able
talked
to
over.
climb in and out of all the scrap and all the rest. They should be able to get where other people can't get.
Yeah,
And-
totally.
Yeah. Snipe.
Benefit from some good cover save rules. And I've always liked, when I've talked about it before, but I'd love a little special rule with them, a bit of randomness, where you roll a dice and the sneaky little bastards take pot shots at the nearest orc unit, because they like to. Right, they're the fuckers that have been bullying us back at camp or whatever, like little sneaky pot shot to the
Well,
back
get
of an
them
orc
back.
head or whatever, and
Yeah.
it would be very cool. And grot snipers, they need to become a thing. We need rules for them. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
So we've a few posts and comments. So if you're watching the stream, guys, and there's a specific trait you want us to talk about, or a specific subculture in question, throw it into the chat and we'll get the lads talking about it. We have Grayson Runyon asking, do you guys think any of the other subcultures besides the grot mobs one is going to be worth it when compared to clan cultures? I'll chat about that initially, and I'll say it depends. It depends what you want from it. If you're making like something narrative and fun, I think most of them you'll be able to get something out of it. I think we're really excited about the grot one because we're thinking of the modeling prospects of it. But if you're looking for like what's great in the meta, it's like at the this moment in time, it's like I don't know.
The burner one will be great, I think, because burner's as fucking killy as it is, and having a whole burner subculture, just imagine that, just going, especially against something like Nids or something like that.
Only if it makes burners D6 rather than D3.
I'm still bitter about that one.
Yeah, I don't think it hasn't gone quite that far, but it gives you, what does it give you? It gives you roll 2 dice when determining the D3 result.
Oh, Ambassador, you're really spoiling us with these pickle decks.
I like the Boom Boys one. That's one that's caught my interest for obvious reasons. Yeah. Tank Busters now being strength 9, AP 3, against some really, toughness 8 units. I think that's going to really bump up their potency. I think what these subcultures will do, what it will do is generally if I can in a game, I try and run a brigade detachment of like Bad Moons, but I think what it will do to a lot of us players now is we'll be much more likely to have several detachments in our army to specialize those units, to put the units that benefit from that subculture in a detachment. And then like we do with clans now, like a lot of players do with clans now already, but there'll be more of that, I think. So I very much like the idea of primarily sticking with Bad Moons, but having some sub-detachments of these subcultures to benefit those key units with those key special rules to get the most out of them. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of playing around and fun to be had of it, I think. And what I really like about it is that it is giving rules and stuff for themed armies, and themes are great, and themes should be encouraged and should be rewarded, and it's a step in the right direction on that front, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of, if people are going to bring Gretchen's clan cultures in their own detachment, I think you're going to see a lot of minimum Gretchen size units. So what is it? Your 3x10 minimum size Gretchen units just to hold objectives. And you're going to see a big mech with bulk standard custom force field, some other HQ, maybe like, I don't know, a fucking weird boy or something. And then you're going to see maxed out mech guns to maximize the re-rolling ones and the 6+ invulnerable saves, and you know what I mean? I think you're going to see a fair few of them knocking around. What do you think, Dim?
You definitely will in my army.
So everybody watching the stream, don't take this the wrong way, but
tinfoil hat moment?
Power gamers, it ain't all about you. Right? Some of us don't give a shit if your list is optimal. We just want to take stupid shit, and some of the stuff in this does that. Whilst making it a little less punishing to kind of go, well, I'm not going to go all out and follow the meta. It's slightly rewarding trying to go, right, well, I'll try and make something a bit different, and trying to kind of kick more of the orc units into the middle ground. It won't make them like according to a lot of people online, it won't make most of the stuff loads better, but it's like, certain things will be improved. There's one particular custom job which makes one of the stomper guns slightly more decent.
Oh yeah, man.
Makes the
what's the specific name?
The Super Gatler. Makes the Super Gatler. It can do the kill Dacker thing every turn. You can use the Cycle Dacker Blaster rule every turn.
Another good thing for the Stomper as well that I saw is the stratagem where you can shoot and use it on that turn with its undamaged profile. So when it's nearly dead, you can use that and still use it at maximum effectiveness, which again helps it. I still don't think we're going to see many Stompers on the table, but it helps.
At least if you bring one now. Yeah. From what I
Well,
gather,
they've
it's yeah.
They've only had 2 years to do to get this right. And
What do you mean 2 years to
They're
get this
still not
done?
there. They're still not
Mate,
there, but they're heading there.
It's been longer than 2 years, lads. That
God.
Stompers have needed a fixing. Like, don't get
Yeah.
me started. Going back to 6th edition now is when it first got shafted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 6th edition isn't really an edition. We all need to accept this. It was,
6th edition was a sick.
Oh,
joke.
how do I burn that edition without mentioning a certain name I'm not allowed to mention?
Yeah, damn right. You're not allowed to mention. I still have the bleeding bottle opener here.
There's another stratagem I wanted to mention as well. We've got the big killer boss, but we've also got, I can't remember what it's called, but it is effectively the same thing for a big mech, isn't there? Where you can buff up your big mech and make him a beefed up big mech as well, I believe.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I think he gets a similar sort of thing where I think he gets +1 strength, I think, which will be really nice. And yeah, so you can have like a proper boss big mech, which is very, very cool. So yeah, it's really cool that they're doing things. We didn't get what we wanted though, did we? In terms of a really obvious one, Gazzy's Bully Boys, a stratagem to upgrade the Mega Knobs.
I would
What
have
the fuck's up
thought.
with that, GW?
I would have thought we would have got something in
Gazzy's
the
Bully
box
Boys,
set itself,
you know?
because
Yeah,
it's
a
like they've got
CP,
Mega knobs.
Upgrade the Mega Knobs.
Straight away, I was
That's
thinking,
a
Casco's
missed
Bully Boys.
opportunity. It's a missed opportunity. GW, if you want to throw us a few quid or whatever of any of these ideas, and I'm happy to help.
One of the lads is asking in the comment section, Navani, how is the subcultures going to work, as detachments or as detachments within detachments? It's one or the other.
As a detachment, I believe.
It's
Yeah,
as
you've
a
got
detachment.
just see the subcultures as extra choices on your clan traits.
They're
You've got-
basically extra clans, really.
yeah, that's what they are.
Which is not the way they should have done it, but it's the way they've done it.
What would you have liked to have seen then? Being an additional buff type of thing?
Either an additional buff, because I don't think an awful lot of the abilities they give in certain circumstances are that great. You could easily still have it on top of clans with, like, say, the grot mob, because grots are getting nothing right now. They got nothing. They got no interesting rules to make them different. Like that, and that's more or less what the clan rules were there to do, as far as I'm concerned. Like, they had nothing. So, like, all you're really doing is the units that couldn't get anything are getting something, and you could add that to a clan culture easily. But they've just made it a faff by doing it this way, because you have to have a dedicated grot detachment. And then you've got certain units that can't benefit at all from the mob culture that you've got, like the big mechs. They can't benefit at all from any of the rules, but they've got to be there to make a legal army, make a legal detachment, which is kind of poor. The other alternative, which I think would have probably been the simplest of all the solutions, is simply to have, hey, this is something you can do instead of clans, but don't worry about if anything in this detachment belongs to a particular clan. Just ignore clans for all.
I like that idea better, and the reason for that is because I think if you were to combine them, I think you would end up with some really powerful combos there.
Night soup.
Yeah, I think you would end up with.
Let's forget about balance, because Games Workshop forgot about balance 2 years ago when they said they were going to do it and then didn't bother. So let's fucking forget about this balance shit. Let's just have some fun shit, right? And let the power gamers get on with it. The meta's gonna produce bullshit anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, the rest of us want stuff that's not boring. Give us not boring rules. I'm done. Other people can talk now.
I think you would end up though. I think you would end up with far too powerful combinations of some of those. One of those clan cultures with one of those subcultures would create something.
Well, then you tie it in.
Stupidly powerful.
You could have tried it in.
Yeah, the Space Marines would be crying into their.
I think they would
Iron
actually.
Hands
To be fair,
Codex.
against some of those combos, against some of them. I mean,
boo hoo.
And I mean, we talk before, but like, I don't want orcs to be at a position where they have been in various points throughout history where we've been an absolute beat stick and we've been just like it. And like Skarnir talked about it a good while back, saying how it's literally the fun was gone because it was just like just getting pounded into the dirt, you know, so soon.
7th edition.
We don't want
Yay.
that, but at the same time, I'm quite happy not being a top tier army. I like being around, you know,
Yeah.
just.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's not about list power for me particularly, but it's just maximizing options. I definitely think they needed to do something because, like, for instance, when like the Flyboys one, this is a Flyboys one, so anything with a fly keyword gets a benefit.
Mhm.
I mean, I suppose that's pretty cool because you could probably come up with a list where it's particularly like bombers, and that probably makes the most amount of sense. But presumably, that also benefits Stormboys. And I was thinking, hang on a minute,
No,
this would be a great
flyers, not
opportunity.
fly.
This would be a great opportunity to.
Flyers, not fly keyword. That's where
Oh,
I
it's-
fucked.
I thought it was fly keyword because I was just thinking, if it was
Flyers.
if it was anything that would have had the fly keyword got a buff, then Zagstruck immediately comes to mind. But you can't take him because he's goth. He throws the allegiance off because they made clans matter. So it immediately closes a theming door.
Oh, no,
and you
no,
literally
sorry, Jim, my mistake. I'm thinking of the crashing, the fucking that stratagem.
This is the
also
trouble
just
'cause
benefit fly keyword stuff. All right, cool.
viewers at home, you have to forgive all four of us here because we will get some of these things wrong because none of us are fortunate enough to get sent early copies of this book. So we are going off by memory of what
I don't
we've
think we
watched
ever
on others'
likely to.
videos.
Steve-O was the
Never
only.
likely to.
Steve-O was the only one who had a shot of getting that book early. We completely fucked it for him.
And even that was a shot in the dark.
By association with us, yeah, mate.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
He's so fucking blacklisted now.
Guilt by association, definitely. I think they could have.
What's
So-
that, GW? Drop those guys? Yeah, consider it done, mate. Yeah, I'll just. Yeah, it's fine. Are you sending it me now? Yeah, Express Courier. Yeah, cool.
I think they could have tied some of the
I
subcultures.
told you, boys, that guy was no good.
I think they could have tied them into actual to the clan cultures, so they could have controlled. I know it would have restricted more, but it could have prevented the potential, like, you know, in quotes, gaming of the system. So, you know, traits, subcultures that were very sort of speed freaks, they could have tied it to speed freaks. You know what I mean? Each clan would have like a branch of 3 sort of sub clans that would synergize.
I like that idea. I like that idea, actually. I like that idea. So, like, Bad Moons could sort of have, you know, diverged into like Boom Boys or something else,
something
or
like
you know,
that,
something. Yeah, I like that idea. That's quite cool.
That's the way I would have done it. But then that's more restricted now because it's like, oh, well, if you want Boom Boys, you have to take Bad Moons. But it's like, it's a bit like that now anyway. You know what I mean? If you want a detachment of shooty stuff that's looters, it's like, oh, well, you know, I can take them as blood axes, which I've done, which kind of works, but their DAC is restricted because, you know, if I take them as blood axes, it's if you're more than 18 inches away, their cover save is up by +1, and if they're in cover, so it's like it's +2 to their cover save, so they're getting 4 up cover saves. You know what I mean? Which is handy for them sticking around, but ultimately, if you want to put out more shooting shots, you want to do showing off, that's tied into Bad Moon. So it's like, right, I want to do my Blood Axe army, but I want fire support to keep the enemy busy. So it's like, well, I need a Bad Moon detachment, and you know what I mean. So we do that anyway.
The book, the codex, and this book and everything, all of it combined now, it just gives us, and not to mention the specialist attachments and stuff from like fucking previous campaign books. But there's just a whole load of fucking good shit in there. But it means that we all have to make some very tough choices when building our list now, because we can't have it all, can we? We got to pick and choose, and there's so many stratagems now, so many psychopaths, so many different buffs to clans, subcultures, specialist attachments. So there are so many different. You weighing up the pros and cons of each stuff. But I like that though. I do like that to an extent. It gives us so many. Right after this book is released, I think facing an orc army is going to be even more of an unknown thing, because you could really be coming up against anything, vastly different themed armies and stuff. And I like that, because certainly at the beginning of 8th, all we had was hordes of boys, and that got old really fast. That got old very fast, because it was the only thing that fucking worked. Once the codex came out, then shooty orcs became a thing. But now it looks like, again, we've got more options for Bernie orcs, for you know, and different things like that. So
They even tried to make the buggies worth taking.
Yeah, a few
That's a good thing
stratagems and
about
buffs there.
orcs. We do have the we've got the variety. You know, we like Space Marines. You know, you can feel different styles of army, like you say, shooty armies, speedy armies, whatever you like. There are a lot of armies out there that don't have that. I know there's a lot to grumble about being an orc, but we do have that at least. You know, like some armies you have to play a particular way, and you know we don't have that, thankfully.
Although that, well, if anything, we kind of deserve it more, really. If we go on fluff reasons, because because of the index Astartes, which like pretty much all Space Marine chapters more or less follow, to some extent at least. Like all Space Marines are quite similar in a number of fundamental ways.
Mm-hmm.
Every single orc culture is unique. We are easily
this is
the
my
most diverse
with
faction.
you, sir, last night. You saying about freebooters would be much more easy to fall to chaos. Freebooters is just as broad a grouping as orcs themselves, my son. You know?
Yeah, I get no resentment out of last night's comments at all. There's no bitterness, nothing.
Well, do you know, like he's only getting that from the Rogue Trader days when the chaotic orcs were listed in the freebooters. But like, I mean, so we're about 15,
well, it was
50 different things. You know, so many things there. There was.
There's loads of.
Listen, they're pirate scum, all right? If a chaos god tossed them a coin,
Hang on a
they
minute.
sell their services in a heartbeat.
For once, I'm gonna join Dread. We need to stamp this shit out right now, right? This is a mnemonic. If all you guys learn from this stream is this, right? All orc pirates are freebooters. Not all orc freebooters are pirates.
Yes. Good.
And
Learn that,
the
people.
crucial key point that Games Workshop's writer of the 7th edition Orc Codex didn't fucking understand, but I do, right?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave.
But yes. Anyway.
But they are all scum.
Well, yeah. Because they don't belong to a fucking clan.
It's like not all smokers have dreadlocks, but all dreadlocks have smokers. You know.
Yeah.
Not anymore. If.
Well, we have a few more questions.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with freebooters.
Oh, Ian particularly, Steve. Right?
We have Hans saying grots need
There's
more.
There's nothing right with freebooters either, like, but there's nothing wrong.
It's very diplomatic.
We have Navani in the comments section is asking, was there an edition you mean where orcs topped tourneys and not Imperial Guard? I remember personally myself, back in 5th edition, that there were some shenanigans with wound allocation and knob bikers. That was a pretty snacky
bikers were a thing for a long time, weren't they?
Yeah, back in 5th.
So powerful, yeah. You could have.
But that was game in the system.
You could have a dock in there. You could have a mech in there and a boss and a load of knobs, all armed with different. You know, you could have them with the burners and the rockets and all the rest. Oh, killing.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a bit too. It was too much of a what you call what they call a Death Star, isn't it? You know.
That was our Orky Death Star, but I never used it because I thought it was cheesy as hell.
Oh yes, it was.
I thought it was glorious as hell because it was a speedy freaky thing, and I like speedy freaks. So
yeah, it was. Well, just like wound allocation was just a really, really bad rule that was obviously only tested on tactical squads. You know, like an awful lot of sort of GW rules from time to time that are to do with 40k. I almost always think, yeah, they tried that with Space Marines and then they stopped.
yeah.
Well, a prime example being 8 and the whole to hit modifiers when we were only just saying there about the index initially. It was like, well, they clearly didn't think of orcs when they playtested this rule set because you can't shoot for shit.
Did they fuck? That was painful, wasn't it?
8th edition has so many patch rules. It's really annoying. Like, obviously we've got Daka, which it gives us a cool buff as well. But like, the core principle of it is that 8th edition's core rules are so weak.
That should be a core rule
that says, yes, you guys can still hit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can still kind of shoot.
in an edition where there is absolutely like a spoon can wound a titan, an orc can't hit a barn with a nuke if there's a Calexis near him. What the actual fuck? But if I don't throw this spoon, I just stab it. You know, kill the Calexis goes away, and I stab this titan with this spoon. You know,
I
minus
remember
one wound.
remember one of my very, very early videos at the start of 8th was asking GW to do that, just simply make the rule that a 6 always hits.
Hi,
And
Sebastian.
fix that. They went one further and gave us Daka Daka. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the beginning, those, you know, hitting
we've
flyers and stuff, and some, you know, elder units and stuff was well, impossible.
-3. I need 7.
They've got other patchwork rules as well, because like the Gazi only taking 4 wounds a phase. That's a patch rule.
Yeah, that's
he's a
oh,
monstrous
shit,
creature,
yeah.
but like GW's like, oh shit, hang on a minute, he's a monster. Like he's just gonna get leaf blowed off because a tradition just shooting's just better. So like they had to make it so that he doesn't get turn 1 by most armies in 40k.
But it depends.
He's going to be pretty hench up against the likes of Tau and Necrons, who don't have access to psychic and are not too hot in the combat phase and stuff. He's going to be a fucker for certain armies to take down.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the battle report when you bring him along, Stevo, and you fight Nick. Yeah, that has to be done.
Yeah, I have to do that. Yeah, definitely. I've got to beat him at some point.
Duck directly behind him using the mending squig strategy.
Yeah, that's it.
It'll be entertaining.
It'll be done.
That was a thing that was one strategy that my friend had pointed out, is to use the mending squig stratagem. So you'd heal D3 wounds onto Gazi, and then you use your regular mending ability that the mech that the doc has, and if you roll a 1,
because it's for infantry,
you can't.
He can heal himself, he spends the time healing himself.
But you can't. See, this is the problem when we're looking at when it came out and we're getting tidbits of information. So the whole thing with Gazgul being monster, being such an nerf, is quite a few things. Like, I'm not being able to use his own buff because they use keywords infantry. The Pain Boy does keyword infantry and bikers, I believe. So Gazgul can't get the passive heal off the Pain Boy, but then Makari gives him that if Makari's within 3 inches of him. So you'd have to take both if you wanted to try and keep him around. You'd bring Makari, you'd bring a Pain Boy just to use the mini squeak strategy.
Hopefully what they'll do with like certain things like that is they can just do a little FAQ to the actual Pain Boy himself, change the wording of his rule to characters, bikers or something, and just lose the infantry keyword. And that way it means he can, because can he heal the Death Killer Wartrike? Can he do that? That's a vehicle, isn't it? It's a character vehicle. That's what it was.
Hold on, let me pull up the codex.
I'm pretty sure that's got the vehicle keyword.
So
but yeah,
totally pissing in the wind, you know.
Well, you know, mistakes have been made.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though.
In AOS, the Dread Saurian, the biggest model that GW I think made before they did that huge Chaos Dragon thing, didn't have the monster keyword. It still doesn't.
Yeah.
Ah, my days. So yeah, what were you asking about? The Death Killer Wartrike. Speed Freak, Speed Boss, Death Killer Wartrike. It doesn't actually have...
know that it's Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I've shot him an invite, so we'll see if it works.
Are we still live? Are people still watching us?
I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think people... fair play to you if you're still here. Fair play to you. That's all I can say. Because, boy, Jesus, shocking is the term I'd use. Absolutely bleeding shocking. Yeah, but the Death Killer Wartrike you can't use with the Pain Boy. It doesn't have... It has the vehicle, Speed Freak, Speed Boss, Death Killer Wartrike. So not only can you not use the Pain Boy on it, you also can't use that new strat for War Bosses, because it doesn't have the War Boss keyword. It has Speed Boss. Because a few people were thinking about using that as the as a good buff for a Death Killer Wartrike, which I could understand, but yeah, that's not going to happen, I'm afraid. Incoming video call. Who's? Oh, no, Jesus. Poor Dread.
So we are still live. I've just looked. People saying we are still live.
Yeah.
But they are, from what I could tell, they are just stuck permanently looking at my face. So you are some lucky viewers out there. You're getting all this, baby, full screen.
All the full Stevo.
You don't have to worry about those other free gits, right? It's all about me. Oh no, Dim. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
You're
Dim
on
switches
screen now.
in. They
There
won't
you
see
go.
me though. This is the thing. So if you talk, it'll jump between you, but it won't look at my mug. So I'm
I think
happy
every
enough.
time you chat, it shows me. I think it finds. Oh, I can't find Skarnir. I'll find the other bald bloke. He can stand it.
He looks close enough. Will
All
you
these
know.
baldies look alike.
There you go. There's a compliment. and a half
Dread's
for you,
in.
Steve.
Resend me the invite. He's in.
Oh Jesus Christ! Ari. Hold on.
It's the first time, guys. First time for us doing this, like 4-way. You know,
That's it. Jesus, that's it. Don't be saying that in public. Why, God?
That's what she said.
started off as a 4-way knob bashing.
Dreadwell. Yeah. I don't know why this is not. Oh my God. Pain in me hole. I have pain in me hole. Never again.
Foil hats, they say.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think my overall verdict of this book, though, is a big thumbs up on the whole. Like I said, we've discussed a lot of what's missing from it.
Well, it's rushed.
But there's a lot of good shit in there, man. There's a lot of good shit. There's fun stuff. There's fluffy stuff. There's themed army stuff. There's like potent stuff, like powerful stuff. It's a good mix of stuff. There's the return of Big Mech with KFF. Really good stratagems. Good psychic power. There's good shit in the book, man. There's good shit, and all they need to do now is have some good lore in there to go alongside that, and it'll be a real good book.
Oh, shit. That was supposed to be internal. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
Well, let's see what it brings.
I
You
think
never
it's-
know, Dim.
It
Dim,
won't be good.
Dim, it might be a
The law
real
won't be
page
good.
turner. It might be a real page turner. You might be gripped.
No, I can tell you one thing, Steve-O. When I get the book, the law section, that at the very least has solved my toilet paper problem.
My general gist of it seems to be they've gone in the right direction. Like it seems like they've gone in the right direction and they've had the correct sentiment with it. But my general impression, even though I don't have the book in my hand, is that it's been rushed. That that there's a lot of cock-ups that we're blatantly seeing and we don't even have the thing in our hand. Like, I don't understand. I can click on this and you can see me mug. I don't understand why they are giving people this book a week early. So there's like YouTubers or people on social media who are giving the book a week early, so they can be, they can launch videos on like pre-order day or whatever. I'm like, right, so you're gonna give these people something and they're invested in you, so they want to stay in your good books. I'm thinking to myself, well, why don't you send the book out to those guys, get them to play test it, and there's a disincentive for them to leak it, because if they leak it and you can tie it back to them, which can, be hard enough, but you get me, if they leak it, then they're not going to get, future books and stuff off of you. All you have to do is, give out various different types or PDFs to them that have specific keys in them, so if that PDF is shared, that you're able to tie back to such and such a body. There are ways to do it. So I don't see why they aren't just like, all right, we have these people, we'll send it out to them, get feedback off them, fix the shit, and do it before we sell the book or before we send out the PDF. I don't see why they can't do that. I'm sick of buying Games Workshop books and there's blatant flaws in them. They don't even look like they're fucking proofread for the price we're paying for them. I'm getting tired of that. I really am. That really annoys me. It's like I'm paying top dollar for this book and you just couldn't even proofread it. It looks like you haven't test played any of the stuff. You know what I mean? It's like you're going in the right direction, but just take that extra step further, so I can be like, grand, seal of approval, happy days. It won't take that much, like, you know what I mean?
It's they're definitely pushing, you know, sales, release schedules, and they churn out books and miniatures to a degree now that they never used to before, did they? And it's the speed, it's the getting them out, and that's definitely has had an impact on, like you say, the spelling mistakes, the rules errors. There was one book, I can't remember which one it was, but it was in the last the Vigilus book, didn't it miss out with Abaddon's points or something, or someone just they forgot to put the points in there. My Necron Codex that's got some big glaring errors in the back of that one in the so it's I think it's a symptom of their who's that trying to get in our core? Keep hearing the
That's Dread. I'm trying to get Dread in. It's like, oh, try add Dread.
motherfucker.
I know, he's a pain. He's an absolute pain. Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Well, finally.
You know what the problem was there is because it was ringing both on the laptop and on the phone, so it was doing both.
Yeah.
God.
Just answer on the laptop.
I tried to, but it wouldn't let me because that phone. No, I heard actually. I heard Wayne had Skarnir made a very good point there. His book was me. Exactly the same point, really. Is test it before you release it. I am actually sick of the fact that I think what they did is they were testing the waters. Even is will our followers they actually buy our books of errors? And we did, and so they went, all right, well, if they will, then we won't even have to bother with testing and editing. We'll just wait till they do it for us and they point out all the problems, and then we'll sell them the problems fixed. I mean, it's the laziest, it's just the worst way of behaving. I think it's awful.
I mean, that's it. That's it right there, Dread.
There's very few other things where you can spend that much money on a book. Like, I mean, I'm into books. I like to go to bookshops, and I spend a lot of money on books. And I'll tell you what, GW books are massively overpriced for what they are compared to any other book. You know, they're really expensive. And then it's just a waste anyway, because 2 weeks later, that wonderfully printed artwork and all that seemingly good effort is wasted because nobody actually made an effort with the rules part.
The trouble is, another thing that does that, computer games. Big time of computer games these days do that. They release them in an unfinished state. The advantage that computer games have, though, is that those patches and FAQs and things that come out for them, it fixes the actual game, you know, providing you download it all and stuff. That's still not great on that front, but that's a different whole thing. With a book, it doesn't do that. You get things, they do the FAQs and stuff, but it doesn't change your actual book. You still got that book in its unfinished, broken form and with lots of errors, and it's
not very environmentally friendly, is it? Games Workshop,
and also they need to step up their game massively with the digital versions of their codex, massively. Those need to get those, and they're FAQ'd and whatever, and they're updated and it's fixed in the actual thing. You don't want to have to cross-reference everything with FAQs, because I've had so many times during games and stuff, and I'm like, I know this is a rule, and it doesn't say it in the book. I'm like, no, it's in one of the FAQs. And during the game, we're like looking through, and was it in chapter approved? Was it in the FAQ? Was it in this? Was it in the last one? Was it in? And you're trying to. It's a bit shit. It is crap. It is the shittest side of their sort of the way they're releasing this stuff these days. Definitely.
What I wish would happen would be that Games Workshop would either listen and stop trying to be a publishing company and be a model company first and foremost, like they used to be, not a publishing company. They seem to become a publishing house now, and it's really frustrating. Either stop doing that, or I wish that instead some fan-written gaming system that's really easy. It's like 40K, but really easy to get your head around, even easier than 40k to get your head around. But it's basically the same thing, and it's free, and everyone switches and starts using that, and nobody buys Games Workshop's rule books anymore, and then they have to be forced to do models. That's what I wish.
I wouldn't say that they're not producing stunning models all the time, though. They clearly are.
I just wish
across all the range.
rather than selling books, and now what they do is they make models to.
I think all your points on the books are valid and true and totally right, but I don't think it's had a negative effect on their miniatures range. I think they're producing more miniatures than ever before.
Yeah,
really good ones as well.
How many
there has been missteps on that front, but
all the money that they're wasting on Black Library, they could be spending that on actually having sculptors actually providing us things that we should have had 15, 20 years ago. Just an idea.
Ding.
We've a few comments in the live stream. We have Rock Lobster asking, the new post on the Warhammer community page gave a buff to battle wagons, a buggy, dreads and killer cans. Did you guys see this? My answer to that is yes, I have seen it. It is this one here. Hey, the Fortress. We'll make it a bit bigger so you can see. And it's for a battle wagon, bonebreaker, or gun wagon model only. The model has a save characteristic of 3+ and a 5+ invulnerable save. So
very nice.
It helps.
There's a few good buffs, and there's a couple, isn't there, for the various battle wagons and things. A few upgrades and things you can do to them now.
That's cool, because I've got some much more beefy looking battle wagons than your average as well. So.
And they did need it as well, to be fair, on some of it.
Do you know what battle wagons I like to see? Is when someone gets 2 kits and makes the double wide one. That looks dirty.
Yeah.
When someone does one of those conversions. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's so much in the book that's interesting and good. The sentiment is in the right place, but it'll just end up going back into a rant.
But as ever with Games Workshop, it's the execution, isn't it?
That's it's like they start off in a great place and they have great concepts, but they just sort of I don't know what the story is inside the company, but they just sort of stumble on the final execution. You know what I mean? And at this stage, it feels like they do it intentionally, even though I get the vibe that they don't. I personally think it's probably something to do with deadlines. Having a deadline set for something, not having either enough people working on it or enough time set aside for it to be hashed out, and then this is what we get. And then 2 weeks, we're conditioned at this stage now. We're pretty much conditioned. Here's the product we're selling you. It's going to be subpar, but don't worry, 2 weeks later we'll sort it out. It's like, well, what the hell's the point in buying it then? You know what I mean?
I think what they do is they have teams on projects, and them teams have got a set amount of time to come back with that project done, and there's not a chief editor as such that's actually checking over those things properly. And those people don't really generally know what they're doing, so they might be setting it's like, you, Jimmy and Susie go together and you go and you work on the Orc Codex. All right, okay, yeah, sure. And they don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they've got to come back in 2 weeks with something, so they do, and then that's that. I think that's the way it works.
I was reading an interview with one of the staff who left quite recently. He was involved in Specialist Games, and he'd been one of the people who wrote the new Necromunda. And I now know why it's so bad. Because basically, they had they knew they were doing it, but then they had a 3-month window where they're like, right, we're putting out a box set. It's got to be Necromunda. It's got to have this, this, and this in it. They're like, you have to crowbar the Rogue Trader stats in, which, as the guy rightly said, the 4 Rogue Trader stats more or less mean the same thing. They're all sort of basically variations on leadership that don't really add much to a game. And they had all these various sort of requirements. They had bugger all time to do it. And the other thing he pointed out, they get paid bugger all. So basically, they weren't paid. They were paid slightly less than management in a London GW store, which doesn't sound like an awful lot of money. I mean, from some of the writing that I've read, writing in inverted commas from Games Workshop in the past sort of 10 years, I think they're overpaid, honestly. But
You're not giving any money at all, in your opinion.
Yeah, but if they yeah, exactly. But if they're expecting them to design the games, the wage should be better than that, honestly. But like it's a mixture of all of these various things. It's a mixture of extreme deadlines. It's a mixture of low morale. It's a mixture of like higher ups, particularly sales higher ups, having far too much say. And this is a thing that keeps coming back and back and back. I've heard this from so many interviews. Rick Priestley's mentioned it. I'm pretty sure there was a sort of article where Andy Chambers was talking about that as well. Like a lot of ex-GW staff have talked about salespeople interfering, higher ups sort of demanding certain things have to be part of a particular project. So you've got executive meddling. You've got like there's just all sorts just standing in the way, and then the same company, aka Games Workshop, when they get criticised, will turn around and go, "Oh, we're a model company." I had that said to me in Warhammer World the last time I sort of visited, and my sort of response to the staffer was, "All right, yeah, model company. You're going to give all your rules away for free then?" He didn't talk to me after that. But yeah, like the state we're in right now is we're talking about like the computer games that sort of do this, right? And I think it's no accident. Like there's a reason that it seems so similar because it's the same concept. It's the live service concept. Mm-hmm. Like if you think about it, if you put it down to sort of a basic definition, it's a monetization of feedback. So you are paying to have that feedback. So what they've done is they've taken the games that they do, strip them down to the bare minimum, charge you the same amount of money they were charging you before when they had people to decide what the game should be. And then you were paying into a system where they are offering to listen to what you have to say with no commitment to act on anything that you've said to them whilst making that kind of the financial thing. And like, I was sort of reading this interview with this staffer, and he's sort of quite passively talking about all of the things that made the new Necromunda an absolute categorical failure on launch. And I'm just thinking, I paid £100 for that fucking box set, got it, read it, was insulted, took me ages to sell it to someone else and get rid of the bloody thing, right? And he's just going, oh, well, that's just the way it is. And I'm just thinking, like, this is exactly the problem. Just like, people pay a lot of money for these books and they just don't get it right. And that's what they're paid to do. And if they don't like that, well, there's a simple solution, guys. Quit.
Battletech! Battletech's the solution.
And the other problem is that whilst I want to say that, like, you've got like a company that is corporate who's most likely thinking the wants employees and not individuals, who they will be constantly reminding them they're replaceable.
Oh yeah,
and that
everyone's replaceable.
Bare minimum, and like that's not a way to have like games with a direction. And I think this is the problem. I think when you boil it all down, they've got a lot of people who can sort of pitch in the odd interesting idea and make something of it, but you're never going to get a full-on direction in the way that you used to, because Games Workshop doesn't want that kind of person-led approach anymore. And it's just, it's always going to result in this kind of stuff, which is kind of why I've really rolled back my interest in it. I'm excited about the grot stuff, and I might dig out my Rebel Grot army and use it a bit, but I'm really dubious about the future of what's going to happen in the next couple of editions, because like 8th edition is the most bare minimum I've ever seen a game be, and still not be right. And all of that needs to be sorted. And then you've got like the balance in these factions out, and I just don't think 8th edition is robust enough to be the balanced game they say it's going to be. But there's always going to be plenty of Games Workshop's fans who will, defend it no matter what. We learned that with 7th, didn't we, guys?
Yeah.
Like I had people swearing blind to me that there was X, Y, and Z. Games Workshop couldn't possibly do it. There's no way they could do that. There's no incentive to do it. There was no reason to do it. There was no way, not remotely possible that they could listen to people. And then these same people are going, "Oh, isn't it great the Games Workshop's listening now? It's all fixed." And I'm just like, do you guys look yourself in the mirror?
Have you noticed how Warhammer community website takes them that like what the hell is that? Should just be their Warhammer news site. The idea of a community website, I thought, was to actually talk to the community and listen to the community. But there's nowhere there.
It is there to talk to the community. It just doesn't want the community talking back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I wanted, to be able to say stuff back at them and go, "I don't like this," but.
They do a bit of that. They do a little bit of that on their Facebook page, don't they? They generally do respond to things on their Facebook team or whatever on their 40k or their whatever it's called on the Facebook group.
The community website should be that, because a website is what is accessible to everybody. Not everybody is using Facebook. I mean, a lot of people want to leave Facebook. It's annoying.
Yeah. I have it so that I can keep in touch with people. I don't really use it for much else.
Yeah, I've got family, and in another country. That's why I use it. But I don't have to go on there to speak to to Games Workshop anyway. Should be able to go on their website and just say no. I don't like.
It probably wouldn't be that much of an improvement, to be fair. I mean, you can email them. I haven't had any particular results, although I think I got blacklisted.
I think yours goes straight into the junk file, Dim.
Yeah. I think my email got either blocked or blacklisted.
It's this bloody nutter again. Fuck's sake.
When the 7th edition Orc Codex came out, I bought the War Boss edition.
Oh yeah,
7th edition book.
You were the only one, mate.
£100 on that, and I read it. And after I'd done reading it, I spent I know it's just technically just a game, but I mean, it's not really just a game when you spent £100 on one book. Well, technically two, I suppose. But I read it and I was positively livid. I just it pissed me off so much. I found 5 solid shouldn't have missed mistakes in a quick read through, and I launched this mammoth ranty email at them about how utterly dreadful it was, and just said you shouldn't be charging any money for this, let alone £100. It's not worth it. And shortly before I'd send that email out, I managed to accidentally break my book, so I couldn't even return it.
Accidentally break? Did you mean you did something in?
No, it wasn't even deliberate. I wish it was. But I didn't notice on an uneven sort of surface, and I dropped a huge, heavy box on it, and it bent it a bit, and I was just like, I can't even return it now. And I said that, and I said if I could, I would. And this was also in response because this. I
don't know about that. It doesn't matter about damage.
I remember now.
They send stuff to my bloody special edition codex damaged.
Yeah, that's what I have done really. But yeah, but the best of it is that there was what was it? Yeah, I remember what set me off now. The reason that I even sent an email at all is because they sent me an email.
Oh yeah, I remember this. The pillets.
They're supposed to be numbered, but they hadn't put the numbers in any of the War Boss edition ones. So charges £100 for a limited edition book, and not told you what your number was. And they said, or something of that nature. But anyway, they contacted me because they knew I'd ordered it, because obviously I ordered it on their website and my email's attached to my account. And they contacted me and said, send us your email details and send us your address details, and we'll mail it to you. And I just said, shove it up your ass. Stick it where the sun don't shine.
God.
Stick it in the same place you got your ideas for it, or something along those lines. It was witty, whatever it was. It's a few years ago now. I was so pissed about it.
Don't speak to them no more.
There you go. That's why you won't
Probably,
see an early edition, early review copy heading Dim's way anytime soon.
Hands is with a few.
On the upside, Gaslands is really fun.
I don't know. It's like we go on like we're learning lessons, but then it's like, well, I'm still buying the book, and I still expect it to be, you know, a hop-laden mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so it's
It's
like
Stockholm syndrome. We're used to it being shit, but we'll make something of the wreckage. And that's more or less how I'm looking at it. I'm just thinking, well, the main sort of deal breaker for me with 8th edition orcs was grots don't get clans, which I still don't think makes sense fluff-wise. I think, if anything, grots are more invested in the clan structure than orcs are. Your average orc boy doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Because in order to give a shit about kind of your clan identity, you've kind of got to have ambition, really. And orcs are not ambitious. The average orc is not ambitious. Yeah, occasionally a knob will have knob or a
They would
war
have been the ones that would.
end off there. Yeah. I mean, the grots probably aren't that deterministic, but in a lot of ways they are more deterministic than orcs. Like, if you look at it, granted, they don't talk about it much anymore because most of the fluff that you get for sort of orcs these days concentrates more on them in war rather than in their societies. But when you look at their societies, grots have a fundamental sort of role. They make more or less everything tick over. There's dozens upon dozens of grots running the entire economy, running like markets, bazaars, like dealing with refuse, dealing with pretty much everything that orcs don't care about, which is most things. Like, so the whole idea of grot can only really be a pretender with the clans. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's a fucking badge. It's a fucking badge that you wear, and it tells you that those guys over there in different colours are twats that we should kill. Or the big boss says we have to work with them now. Okay, well, he's the biggest guy, so we'll have to listen. It's not rocket science. Like, they do understand more about clan identity than that. I'm slightly simplifying it, but like, it's still kind of you know, there's an awful lot more to it than is really given credit. It's like grots have been really hard done by this edition, and for quite a long time. I'm a long suffering. I'd bear all of these resentments. You're welcome to laugh at me for it because it is pathetic. But I remember every slight, and the recent red gobbo is one of the principal things. So after the red gobbo, when I first heard about this Macquarie coming out, I'm like, right, what's the catch? This is a limited edition model, isn't it? Or it's like, it's not really a model, it's just a Photoshop or something. Like, I was just immediately distrusting. So when it comes out and there's no real catch, it's a cool model. The only minor catch is that it's a goth, but it doesn't work with grot mobs because whoever did the grot mob rules didn't think. But it's it's all right. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just used to grots getting the rough end of the stick, and to some extent that's funny. It's kind of what grots are supposed to have happen to them. But at the same extent, like, they've got so much sort of interesting aspects of the law that they just don't talk about anymore. Like, read the Rogue Trader books. There's a load of interesting things about grots in there.
Well, that ties into what Hans is saying in the comments section. He's like, I'll send my copy of the Waaagh, the orcs, the GWHQ so they can learn about orcs. And I get that sentiment as well. I really get that vibe of whoever's...
send them your own books.
Yeah.
Check these out. This is what you used to write.
Yeah, back in the day when you used to actually deal more with the content. But that's the sentiment I get, is whoever's writing for them now either doesn't really play orcs or hasn't been playing them that long, and they don't read up on it. Like, I would have expected, like, if you're gonna be writing the army, like, they pick up tidbits here and there, and it's cool. There's a nod to some old school references, but it's very, very sort of vague-ish. You know what I mean? There's not. You can tell that they haven't read like every codex, and they haven't gone through like all of the books, which I would have thought, like, you know, you'd get that to get a flavor of the faction. You know what I mean? And I understand that orcs have changed quite a lot in 40k compared to some other factions. Tyranids changed a fair bit as well early on, but like, if you look at orcs from Rogue Trader 2nd edition, right? Even from Rogue Trader to 2nd edition, they changed a little bit, but they were still kind of like cartoony, zany, that sort of mad, but there was a lot of culture to them. There was a lot of frills around the edges. And then when 3rd edition came around, you can see that there was a massive change. We had Gorka Morka in between. I think Gorka Morka had a lot of influence on what our modern day orcs are. For instance, no longer being ballistic skill and weapon skill 4. Orcs used to be like that. Gorka Morka, they changed it, so it's like, oh, you know, orcs are more better at hitting stuff than shooting. And then we see that change taken over into 3rd edition, which is pretty much cemented what Games Workshop have seen orcs since. But even then, we've lost lore since then, that they haven't delved into the same to the same depths. Like, they explain sporing in the Orc 3rd edition codex, which is even taken, that was taken from Gorka Morka, and it wasn't all taken, it was like a chunk of it. So it's like, as the editions go on, the reference material that they seem to reference gets smaller and smaller. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, Scott, there's an equal possibility that orcs just spontaneously appear.
like dwarves, is it? Just out of the ground.
Just as likely.
Yeah.
Fact. Current orc codex. Sporing's just a theory.
Yeah, who's to say?
Jesus. What's to do?
I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this book and the game. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm buzzing to get my hands on this book, and I'm buzzing to get my hands on Gazzy and their Meganovs, and I'm buzzing my tits off, and I'm feeling nothing but happy feelings.
We have to try harder.
We have to get through that optimism.
Sorry, guys, I've been very quietly cracking on. I've achieved quite a lot. I'm almost through these boys and grots now. But
Quietly cracking on. You and Dim have had the run of this show.
And you know what? No, I'm buzzing my tits off for it. I think it's a good time to be an orc player. I'm looking forward to it, and
Yeah, mate.
I genuinely, I think we've got some good shit coming, and there's been a lot of talk of the faults and the bad sides of the stuff and the company and that, and there is, and a lot of valid points and that. But do you know what? I still like the books. You know, I like what's in them and stuff, and I want more, and I want less errors and less fucking rushed out books and more care taken on the editing side of things and bits like that. For sure, I do want that. But
I'll still pay for it all.
I will. And do you know what?
Oh god.
I will. I will still pay for them, and I still enjoy them. I do still enjoy them. Oh fuck.
Hans is
I'm
asking
trying
once
not to
again,
be
do I
a
get
fucking
awesome
loser.
Skarnir merch in tinfoil hat form? Yes. Coming to a store near you.
Actually, we've rushed out.
You can wear the tinfoil hat in the bath.
Well, you won't be able to find any tinfoil because we rushed out and bought it all off the shelves because we knew that Dim was going to be on tonight, so we all rushed out.
It gets so hot wearing these, man. My head is literally cooking in it.
Actually, yeah, mine too.
It's instant. You put it on, and you're just instantly a burning head.
It's almost like we use it to insulate heat.
Yeah, it's like
What the fuck?
welcome
This
to
is witchcraft you speak of.
welcome to the sensation of having hair.
how I have missed thee.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I need a hair squig.
Talking about hair, Jim, now you've got your channel up, we're definitely going to have to do that 2 hairy knobs.
Yes, definitely.
At least once.
I
Mate,
mean,
be careful. I typed that into Google once, and what I found was not pretty.
Well, I had the same effect when I was searching for you lads last time. I was signing in for a new account, it didn't know what I was looking for.
Speaking of 2 bald knobs, we will have an episode coming up once we have the book in our hands.
Yes, we will.
Pre-ordered, so we've got the book. I think Stevo's going for the special edition because, it's Stevo.
It's his turn to get hurt.
I mean, I'm actually going to buy this book, which is kind of pretty unprecedented considering I still haven't bought the Codex yet.
You what?
I refuse to buy the Codex. I mean,
Good man.
yeah, well, no, because Grots didn't have clans. 8 of my 10 HQs immediately were like, "Oh, these only work in the index." So I was just like, "Well, I might as well keep using the fucking index." There's no point in me buying the bloody book. I think the only thing I didn't sort of took a while to take note of was the fact that they made the custom Mega Blaster D6 damage. I think that's the only major change that affects me.
And you know what, guys? I've pre-ordered the special edition.
More and everything.
I've pre-ordered the special edition book, and I will be giving my views and verdicts on it and doing a comparison video with the standard book. It's the reason I've done it. The reason I've done it is because I'm splitting because of the Space Wolf half of the box was so poor in comparison to the Orcs. The guy I'm splitting it with, I'm like, it's kind of fair that you have the book that comes in the box because you're getting like the crap end of the stick here.
Yeah.
And I know that the special edition book comes with some of the content from that book in the special edition, plus some of the short stories, which they've already been on the community site from what I hear. But it is extra content, which is good that they're finally putting something extra in these books. But would I recommend anyone else to do the same as I'm doing? No. I will 100% confirm that when I do come to do the comparison review. But I wouldn't. I generally would advise anyone against going special editions.
I read some of that lore that they had on community that has gone into the limited edition book.
2 thumbs up.
Not worth it.
2 thumbs up.
Like they need to like.
They're essentially it's just what four short stories, isn't it? It's just 4 little.
On their knees and beg fucking Bill King to go back to writing incidental fluff for all the books again, like he did in Second Ed. Because back then we had fucking amazing fluff in the books. And it was really, really good because we had a guy who knows how to write. Now, if they can figure that out and do it again, it'll be great.
Right, so any final notes before we wrap this up? We'll start with Dread since he can't get a word in edgeways, surprisingly, in this one. Any final notes there, Dread?
Would you want my input now, do you?
Well, since you're here,
No, if I say anything, we'll only get closed down again, won't we? It seems that every time I speak,
It's just, the problem.
I'm just staying out of it. I'm bad news, mate.
I think the tinfoil hat is affecting like the Wi-Fi in the area or something, mate. It's bouncing off the signals. And
the brain waves. That's why your heads are heating up. You know what I mean? It's not actually.
This is why we've had technical difficulties, isn't it? It's
the interference.
I mean, the sad thing is that this has worked out quite well, actually, since we went back onto the Discord.
Oh, yeah. No, Skarnir. We want all 4 of us on the one screen at the one time. Yes, bastards. The lot of yous.
Oh, it was good while it lasted.
That's what she said.
I'll stick up for Dim on that, actually, other than the fact that, it made us half an hour late and it kept cutting out after every half hour. It was pretty good when we were on it.
When it worked, well, it worked amazingly.
Deciding to switch from Hangouts to this, or the other thing, 5 minutes before was due to go live was probably not a wise idea.
We would have pulled it off, but I'm blaming you.
Yeah, It was, yeah.
if, how has it been for you, Scar, as the host? If
This is an absolute shit show.
if you weren't
if
bored
this show
at the
was
beginning of this, you would have been now.
if this show had a physical representation on the battlefield, it would be a battle wagon that's sort of got like 3 of the 4 wheels missing, and it's just on fire, and it's driving in the wrong direction on the battlefield. We'll get there in the end, lads. You know what I mean? We'll, get out and push. We'll get there.
Fair. That is quite Orky.
It's how we roll. It's how we roll.
It's like it'll fall apart, but we'll get it to work.
We basically did it properly.
So, Dim, any final words from Dim before we wrap it up?
I think I've probably talked enough.
No, Dim. No, carry on.
No. Yeah, it's shit. It's all shit. No. I'm kind of excited.
Let's books.
I'm gonna dig out my grots and actually use them in a couple of games, which, considering I found 8th edition to be incredibly tedious, means this is quite a big positive. Considering I fucking hate this edition.
So there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
There is something to take away from it, which is that I might actually enjoy a game of 8th edition. It's unlikely, but it's a possibility.
You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first.
Mother's Day.
Exactly. Stay positive. Stevo.
Some of my positivity rubbing off on you there.
Let's just hope it's the positivity. That's all.
Yeah, not the male pattern baldness.
The other thing I wanted to say actually was, I have noticed actually in the hobby just lately.
Quite you.
Even with you guys. Now, I'm not going to say anything wrong. I'm only going to say something good. Right? Everybody seems to be coming back. Everybody's actually making orcs again. Even if they aren't really working out. Everybody seems to be inspired again for some reason. I don't know whether it's just a universal energy thing or what, but it seemed a few months ago everyone was in a dark place, and now all of a sudden we're all inspired and we're all building again. I think that's great.
It is. It's awesome. It's awesome. And it's, I think partly...
alive.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that. I think partly because they've given us some of what we wanted.
Yeah.
Which they didn't do last time. They've given us Gaz. They've given us back our big mech with KFF. They give us Makari, which was something that not many of us would have predicted a little while back.
Even that even surprised me. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
I mean, in my headcanon, Makari didn't die. He went for a shit and got a grot to relieve him, and he bumped into Fix-It, who was crying at the bottom of a ravine because Waaagh had fucked off into a Titan and left him behind.
I think Makari comes
and
with
a very.
I think Makari's coming with a very dark story that he's going to spend a lot of time with the Runt Herd Councillor talking about. He has spent many years crawling through those tunnels trying to find his way back out.
He must have found something to nourish himself, because he's certainly grown in size from the old days, hasn't he? Because that was his size before. He's definitely...
So what you're saying is that's what Ragnar should have done. He should have done Thanos.
And I'll talk on that as well. I think he's hit on a key valid point before we wrap this stream up, where I think if they invest in orcs and give the orc players what they want, that, build it and they will come. You know what I mean? Players want...
It won't be good enough, but giving us that tiny little impetus means that we can at least fix the fucking shit that they fail to do, which is more or less what we almost always end up doing. It's something. It's a proud part of Orky tradition that comes back from the days when, we didn't have any decent tanks in 3rd Ed, so we made our fucking own and nicked everybody else's.
I think also as well, not just in GW's part, but I think there's a certain small community of orc-loving YouTubers that have pushed the community and pushed the that love of orcs, and a certain Facebook community group that's pushing that passion and drive out there. And
there's only one.
Just some hard-working, devoted, passionate individuals putting the work into getting that out there.
There you go. You can find the link in the comment section below, or
There
on
you
the
go.
side or
There you
whatever.
go. Some selfless, hard work.
Unsubtle reference.
Unsubtle plugging of the Facebook group. There you go. To get you all subscribed if you aren't subscribed up. So I think
Well, I'm in that group.
yeah, there you go. Dreadwell's in there. Exactly. Should be
Hang
Hang on a minute. Isn't Dread the reason it exists?
Kind of.
two bald knobs. I think that's Stevo's fault. It started off as the two bald knobs group, and then it morphed into something else.
Yeah.
And then Dread's down and folded more people in, so it's like it's everybody's pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, it's for the community. Hence the community in the name. You know what I mean? But I think we'll eventually wrap this. I think this could go on for like days. This stream, not hours, days. Now that we fix the technical
Get them
problems.
started on fluff. It will go on for
Oh
days.
Jesus Christ! Here we go. Right now,
Steve-O's missus is laying there next to him already, trying to go to sleep, and we're just rabbiting on.
it's like they won't shut the fuck up. Right. So we're gonna.
Look. No, look, wait a minute. Look. Ignore Dread. He's about to show me up, love. I swear I didn't say anything to him earlier. Cut the feed.
Right, so
Come to bed and double lively.
shut up the lights, will you? Jesus. Right. So thanks for hanging out for the live stream. I want to say thanks to the three of the lads for actually coming on. This was great crack. We needed to do it again sometime soon while everyone's still cooped up. And
once you've recovered, mate. Once you've recovered, you need a bit of
from the
time
bleeding,
after this.
the trauma, yeah, Jesus Christ. And if you're not subscribed to us all, we all have channels. Dame's going to be putting out a video soon enough as well. So if they're smart enough and quick on their fingers, they can, link their channels in the comments section. But I'll leave that up to them.
My channel, just here, see there? I'm not on screen. Am I? Look, me.
yeah, exactly.
You're pointing at glue.
Oh, that's right. Up there.
Right. It's goodbye from Skarnir. They can all say goodbye in turn, and then the live feed is being cut. So goodbye from me.
6+Stevo signing out.
Dim, aka Hobbygate. See you later.
And it's goodbye from Dread.